Hi all, I want to talk about drum comping, live drum takes. So you get multiple takes of drums that you send out to be recorded for a certain song that you want to do. And you're going to end up, you got three takes example, right? Which I'm going to show you in a minute. Three takes of a song I'm working on. And I got three different takes of the whole song of drums. So they're all multi-tracks in there. So how do I cut and comp between them? Right? And how do I manage that for my session? So let's check that out. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, hit the like button, and share this video and help support this channel. All right. Drum comps, comping. This term is used in a musical way where you comp in a musical way. With a rhythm section, and you just comp underneath the singer or, whatever instrument's playing. And there's also another terminology for it, comping, which means choosing takes or cutting between different takes and comping them together. Like if you have multiple vocal takes or multiple drum takes, like what we're going to talk about at this moment. So today I have received three different drum takes from a drummer I hired to record for a song I'm working on. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the song at this moment because it's not going to be released yet, but I can show you all the drum takes and how I'm going to cut between them. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so first and foremost, what I would do is I'd open a separate session for the drums, an empty session, and I would probably call it here live drum takes for song. I'm not going to put the title of the song because I said it. Okay. So prior to that, when I sent the drummer, the song, I would send him the take as a stereo take, maybe minus the drums and whatever I've programmed before, whatever written for the drums. I would send him the track, a stereo stem of the track with the drums, a stereo stem of the track without the drums, and a stereo stem of the drums. So what that does, it really helps the drummer to know what direction to go in. And for me, every drummer I work with, I'm very particular about drummers and the sound and how it's all recorded. So prior to that is I would discuss that with the drummer and whoever I pick to what kind of vibe and groove to play with the song. But usually I program all of that stuff so he gets the vibe. And I would ask for like three different takes, like what we're doing right now. I'll tell him, take one, just do exactly kind of like what I programmed or I've played on the drum machine. Just to have those takes. I call them like the safety take in that way. Take two, I would ask the drummer, listen, keep the groove, do your own thing on it, like do your own fills and whatnot with it, because fills are a big thing as well in there, so you're going to get to comp between a lot of fills. And then example, take three, I would always tell the drummer, listen, do your own thing on it, right? Because it's all about the human element and well-recorded drums and whatnot. I'm a big advocate for, live drums. Anyway, okay. So I've opened up the session here. I'm not going to pull in the song. Usually what I would do, or what you would do, is pull in that stereo stem of the song without the drums, if you want to, which you've sent the drummer. Now, I'm not going to stick in the stereo stem of the song because it's not been released yet. So what I'm going to do is just pull in the drum tracks for you to see how I'm going to comp it. Now, when you open up your session, especially when you're comping things and drums, I truly believe that you need to add the same markers that you had within your arrange session or your recording session. And what that entails is it's a lot easier for you to navigate around. So I got, as you can see over here, and I have them labeled 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's multiple takes over there. The reason being is because I can use my keypad to move between these markers and regions. Like that's 4, that's my pre-chorus 1, 3 is verse 1, 2 is my main intro, 6 example is my verse 2, and 7 is my pre-chorus 2, 8 is chorus 2, etc., etc. Why is that? Because that's going to make it easier for you to cut between the drum takes. Why? Because these are all in sections, these songs over here. All right, so Remember to keep your markers that. It'll make your life a lot easier. A very important fact, before you pull in the drums, make sure that your sample rate is set to whatever it was recorded. So those drum takes were recorded at 48 kilohertz 24-bit, and the tempo is so important because the tempo determines your grid line in Logic, right? So the tempo is at 98. Now let's pull in these drum tracks. All right. All right. Here we go. So Yaji Hampton, a great drummer, sent me 3 different takes of the drums, right? Take 1, take 2, and take 3. And each take has 11 tracks, right? His floor, floor 2, kick 1, overhead left, overhead right, rack 1, rack 2, room, snare bottom, snare top, and sub kick. And they're all labeled alphabetically, right? Don't change these at the moment. If you're used to having kick first, kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, you know, your toms and overheads, and then rooms, keep them as is. I'll tell you why. All right, you don't want to keep changing because then you have to change them for both the drum takes. Here we just need to comp. Okay, so I'll pull those guys in. It goes down to the timeline, create new tracks, and so forth. So now we got the tracks in there. You see that? Now to make life easier for you, you don't have to have a lot of clutter on your screen. You just highlight all the tracks over here. And a shortcut to create a track stack or a folder stack or some stack is Shift Apple D. Right? I'm going to create a folder stack. I don't need a summing stack. I don't need to put anything on the stereo output for this because I'm just comping at this moment, right? So that becomes sub 1 and just label that, right? Drums, take 1 example, right? Now let's pull in the other 2, okay? And 2 is the same thing. These are different take. You pull them in here. Same process, take 1. Yeah, those are there. Choose them all there. Shift Command D, and the folder stack, and you call them drums, take 2, right? And then you take 3 from the folder, drag it in, same thing, like that. That comes in, you choose all these tracks, Shift Command D, and folder stack, and you label that, okay? Take 3. Now we got all the 3 different takes in stacks, in track stacks, right? We know they're all there, and if I go down here, open up this track stack, we got that track stack, and then we got this track stack, right? Done. Beautiful. Now, a great way to do things is to color code stuff. So, example, I want to color code take 1. You know, shortcut would be option C. Let's say I want to color this one red, and drum take 2, I want to color this one green, and this one we can leave it as is, or I like the color purple, so let's do color purple. Now, obviously, now we have all these 3 different drum takes. So the most important part right now, and what I would use, instead of muting the whole track, I would use, you know, a shortcut button M, which I have to mute the region, right? And I would listen to these drum tracks, okay? Let's have a quick listen. Let me put my cans on, and we'll have a listen to that. All right. All right, I can hear the drums right now, which is great. All right, let's see what's going on in these drums. I'm not going to go through it all. I just wanted you to get an example. So, at the top of my head, I realized that floor 1, it's got that leakage, but that's fine. You know, with toms, I usually cut them all up, slice them all up until where the tom hits, but sometimes I'd leave one track fully loaded the way it is, and I'd use it as a room mic, you know, just get creative with that. So I know my overhead left and right over here. These are things like I would just pan. I don't do much to it. It's just to kind of get more of a stereo width feel. So if you hear it now, see your overhead left. I wouldn't even bother balancing. If you haven't panned that way, at least you get more of a wider feel somehow, just to make life easier, right? And I would do the same for this one and this one. The reason why I want to do it with all of them, because when I'm listening to them, or, you know, auditioning different takes, I want to hear them in the same way as I heard take 1, since they're all recorded in the same way. Okay, does that make sense? So, a very important factor, obviously, you listen to each and different drum take with the song separately. This is a bit time consuming because, you know, it's a creative process where you want things to be in the mix or in the song. And, you know, be detailed about what you're listening to and what you want. You know, like, I know Yaji gives me great takes, so it makes it even more difficult to pick out the right takes. things that he changes up, or he sometimes gives me an idea, a good idea of, all right, maybe in this section, yeah, it makes sense to just hit 16th notes on the hi-hat, instead of writing the cymbal, writing the ride example on that. Okay, that makes sense. Or, whatever he does on there. So listen to every take properly. It's your song in the end of the day, and what choices you make is very important, and that's what's going to end up on the record or on the song itself. Listen to every take, listen to the intricacies. That takes time. Take your time with it. I usually spend a few hours picking out the right drum takes, but I'm not going to show you I'm not going to choose which take at this moment. I'm just going to look at them and show you how to do it quicker. All right? So back to over here. So now we have all these drum takes here. So I got the red one, and then I got the green one, and then I got the purple one, right? And a quick, easy way to do things is with the markers, right? So let's say I want to go into intro verse 1, and I would choose all of them here, all right? I would choose all of them, and I have my shortcut of Command T to trim it or to cut it, right? And I'd go to 3, and I'd do the same here. I'd go to 4, and I would do the same, here. 1 second, sorry. And I would do the same there. 5, example, I would do the same there. 6, I would do the same there. 7, I would do the same there. 8, I would do the same there. And 9, let's say, I would do the same there. All right? Let's say we have all these sections chopped. You don't really need to chop them. If you want to do it that way, that's great. If you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. Now, once you choose the takes you want, a good idea, what I do initially is I create another folder stack for final drum take. So what I do is I actually choose the parts I want here, and then I drop them into my final drum takes here, right? So if you can do it now or you can do it after, all right? But let's choose the takes I want. Example. So now I got 4, and you got to mute these guys, right? Whatever's playing on there. And what I'll do is I'll just, loop it. And the shortcut for looping, you select the region over here, and you can press Command U, and it just loops that part, right? So now we hear what he's doing this is on take 2. You can tell that, right? So, okay, let's audition take 3. So example, on take 3, I hear a difference with the kick drum, with what he's doing with the kick drum. On take 2, it's straightforward. On take 3, he's playing with the ands and then things going on over there, right? And let's check out take 1. Just remember, when you're auditioning, it's all in context with the song and what suits the song best. I'm sure we all gathered that. All right, let's say I chose take 1 example or let's say I choose, take whatever. Let's choose take 3. Let's choose take 3 for the pre-chorus. And let's go to the verses example, right? I'm just going to play a short loop. Now, don't forget there was 2 of them going on. And let's say I like that, all right? And mute this, mute this, mute this, mute this. And let's say I want take 1 on the main intro, right? So what happens is now you hear some clicks and pops. That's normal, very normal. I'll show you how to fix that after. Okay, let's say I chose this take and that take and drum take 3, going into that. And let's say I go into take 1 of chorus 1. Boom. Right? And I go into, I like take 2 for chorus 2 and these sections, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And I like, let's move that, keep that color over here. So after we have chosen all these takes, example, obviously take your time. It gets a lot deeper into there, and that's why you have the grid lines, because sometimes you have like, a half a bar fill which you want to use, like example over here, and you can cut that up, right? So with being half a bar, you do the same thing, Command T, if that's your shortcut, or you have something to trim it with. And let's say, or I just want, so that's 1 bar over there, or let's say a quarter of a bar over here, and then I can choose between different takes and whatnot. Okay, so take your time with this. Now let's say you've chosen all your drum takes. So you've comped all these drums over here. Okay, we got all this stuff going on. Usually my drum takes look a lot more intricate than this, but this is just a good visual representation of how it kind of looks like. Now, I want to finalize all these drums and drop them into one final drum take, which is right over here. And how do you do that? Well, there's many ways to do that. You can open up and create, example, let's say we go here and we know that there's 11 tracks for this drums. So you can create 11 tracks, come over here and label them all accordingly. So remember, in this track stack, we got floor 1, floor 2, kick in, overhead left, overhead right, rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, blah, blah, blah. And you can sit there and name them all and then create a track stack. Or an easier way to do it, instead of doing this way, which will take a bit longer. Remember, speed is the key here. Well, it's not really the key, but it just makes your workflow a lot quicker. It's very simple. You take one of the drum takes that you have over here, example. It doesn't matter which take. It's just you want to create that folder and it's all labeled and ready to go. You bring them down here, right? And say create new tracks. Right? It's right there. I don't know what these came from. Whatever, we'll take these guys out. So there it is. Right? You don't have to label and create tracks and whatnot. And then, Shift Command D, you create a folder stack, right? And then what you call this is final drums example, or whatever makes it easier for you. And all you need to do right now, you have these tracks in there, just remove that. That's it. Done. Right? Now you have all these stacks. Now, what we want to do is copy and paste all these takes into the final drums here. Now, unfortunately, in Logic, you cannot, well, maybe as far as I know, you cannot, do you know if you guys know the option click key and it adds something? Now you can do it within the same track where I can bring it here and it'll copy paste it wherever you go, right? But it doesn't do it to any other tracks. So the only way to do that is you open up your track stacks for every one of them, right? I'm just doing it on my thing. I can do it with the mouse quicker, but that's fine. Okay. You create these track stacks, excuse me, right? So they're all ready to go, and you can copy paste them that way. And the best way to do this is minimize everything to a point where they're really small and you can see whatnot. Okay? And all you have to do is you choose these takes, right? You take this take and you option click and drag them here, right? And then you choose these takes, the second part of it, option click, you already copy pasted it. Voila, it comes in there. This thing there. And there you have it. Okay. So what I'll do next is, let's remove that. Track stack that guy. Boom, 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 boom. Now, you got your takes copied all the way down into your final drums. Great. Don't forget to mute your other drum takes. Why is that? All right. Because you're going to have variations between these takes. And what you want to do right now is to see where the tail end of one section goes into the next, and how do you deal with that? Or sometimes a kick will come in a little bit before the beat or after beat, and how do you fix that for the second take, right? Okay. So here's how to do it. Let's check out a section. I picked everything randomly, to be honest with you, so I'm not sure what's going on. But make sure you mute the other sections, right? So let's say we're going into here. That's fine. So before we do any crossfading or anything, or fade in, fade outs, so far that seems to be good. Let's see this section, the red section, to the next one. There we go. You hear that click, so there might be a kick drum that came in before or whatnot. Now, if you noticed, I'm just checking the regions which are colored differently, because the regions that are colored the same, they shouldn't have those clicks and pops. All right, but that comes in the cleaning department before you bounce all these tracks, right? So we're not there yet, and we're not trying to mix anything, okay? So I want to do my overheads, panned left and panned right, which is fine. So example going All right, so we noticed that there's something going on there. Let's fix that problem, okay? So let's see what's happening here. Boom, boom, boom. There's a bit of a click. So I can catch it right away, and you could tell it was the kick. Okay, so you see this kick here from this take. So we want this take, right? But we want take 2 of verse 2, right? So take 2 of verse 2 should take priority of when the kick comes in. So a simple way to do that is you take these guys here, kind of mold it in a bit here, and then you bring this guy over here, and you bring the full spectrum of the kick over there. So what happens here, okay, that's still there. Now to solve this problem, what we want to do for all these tracks, well, what I would do for all these tracks is I would highlight, you can highlight all of them here, or let's say we take all of these guys, and you can go into your region section, and you can do a fade in, fade out of 10 and 10. What that does, it does all these fades between all of these regions. Now, bear in mind, if the region's the same color and it's chopped up over here, you don't need to do it. Like example in this region, it's done. But that's okay. Just pay attention to that. I'm just showing you the basic skills of it. So now everything crossfades into there, right? And I try not to actually do, sorry, crossfade is the wrong word. I try not to crossfade because I don't want to dissolve things into each other. I want to have them have their own section. So if there's a tail end of a symbol that comes in, I didn't check that out. I would extend, like example, if there's a symbol that extends into here, I would take the regions which extend and let it extend over there and then adjust accordingly. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, after you're done with this process, remember, this is just comping. We haven't cleaned up anything or done any processing or whatnot. This is just to prepare all of this stuff for your mix session or your final arrangement session, right? So when that happens, what I would do personally, I still don't believe in the whole export thing, so I would solo and bounce each track as mono. Right after I do all this fades and stuff like that, make sure there's no clicks and pops between the different takes, not in the whole region, just between the different takes. So between green and red, that there's no clicks and pops, and the different colors, no clicks and pops, right? And then when I take it to my mix session or arrange session, then I'll do all the cleaning and phase alignment there. Now, this is one thing which is interesting with Logic. You can't bounce things out in mono, but you can bounce things out in mono, but it's a different process. I'll show you this process anyway right now just to make your life easier. Let me just pull up my mix window. So because the drums are all recorded in mono, so I got my floor here, that's in mono. The only way to bounce it in mono instead of having it stereo is you go to your stereo output right there, and you click on the stereo icon over here, and it turns it into 2 mono tracks. So your stereo output is split into 2 different tracks. And the only way to bounce it as mono is obviously what you want to do is you highlight that. You know, you click the cycle loop on top of it, so it just takes that region. And then you solo the track you want to do. But you have to manually here press that bounce button on the stereo, on the left one, and that'll bounce it out as a mono track rather than stereo track. So yeah, that's drum comping in a simple way. Okay guys, I really hope this was helpful for you. Please leave your comments below and see if there's any questions you want to ask or something I haven't covered. I'm happy to answer in the comments below, or if you want me to make some kind of video for it or whatnot, let me know. And thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.